Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in the world today. I hope you're doing great and I hope you're safe and with the ones you care about. So, today we're going to do a weave. Now, this is called the basket weave. It is by far, for me at least, the most versatile, usable, and customizable of the weaves. From this, you can do anything from a simple basket, but you can also change proportions in certain places, make them not even, and you can get beautiful starting points and shapes to build pretty much anything else. With the basket weave, over the years, I've done eagles with 10-foot wingspans. I've done Cthulhu, which was a costume that was about 16 feet tall. My whole body pretty much fit in his chest cavity. I had to have huge giant stilts for it. I've used it for my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle costume. I've used it for pretty much most things where you don't need it double wide, you just need a single layer. The basket weave works wonderfully. And it's so simple. Once you understand the basics and once you get in your muscle memory, it is so simple, so easy, but it looks so good. So I'm going to show you how it's done. And I'm going to do it with a couple different colors so you can actually see how the balloons move. There's a few different ways of doing this, but we're going to do pretty much what I call the stack method instead of the spiral method. So let's first off start off with grabbing our colors. Let's go red, purple, blue, oh, yellow. Let's see, white. I need 6 total. So, okay, let's also go for, oh, gray. That'll stand out among all these. Okay, so we're going to put the balloons aside for a moment because this is what we're going to need to get started. So let's get going. Now, there's a few different ways to get going, and I'm going to show you both methods that are the major ones. Now, you have the one that's for like a top hat or a basket where it's closed off at the bottom, and then you have the open bottom or open system. So we're going to show both of those. Now, this video might be a little bit longer, but like I said, this is once you understand this and you can fully modify it to your heart's content, it can separate you from just being able to do basic, simple balloons to doing advanced, big, gigantic things like dragons with 20-foot wingspans or octopuses that are over 90 feet across. It's the same principle. And that's what's so cool about it. If you use the 360s or the 646s or, you know, it's the same principle. Even with link balloons or quick links or any of those balloons that are round but have the ends on them, in essence, it's a basket weave. You're just using the bigger balloons as your cross sections. So let's get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm getting groups of 2 and I'm tying them together. So let's do that. There we go. Oh, that silver was a little difficult. Okay. Now, so like I said, this is the closed bottom one. And what you're going to take is your 6 balloons that are tied in 3 clusters, and you're going to twist them all together. And really, at this point, unless you're doing a certain color scheme, it doesn't matter what's going to be across from what and what's going to be next to what. So here's my 6 colors. So I'm going to place this down here. Let me adjust my camera a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. And at the very bottom, where they're all connected, I'm going to be doing 2 ear twists. They don't need to be big. This is really just to keep them all going straight out. It's going to look like a hub of a car, or a pinwheel, or a carousel. or a merry-go-round. And all those things I've pretty much seen made out of balloons. So you see how we got our hub now? Okay. So what we're going to do is some people don't like using ear twists for this. Some people do. I like using ear twists. I like the little extra bubbles. I like being able to cover where the connection points are, but that's me. I like ear twists in general. I think the more bubbles adds more flair and more personality to it. Do it how you see fit. But for this example, we're going to do it with the ear twist. So what I'm going to do is, because this is going to be closed off, I'm going to find this, start out about 2 fingers out. And I'm going to make an ear twist. And then I'm going to actually split twist it. And if any of these things don't sound familiar to you, check out the tutorials we have under balloon twisting techniques. And what I'm doing is I'm going to just do that all the way around and get all my bubbles so they're about the same size. Now, I will say this, with any of the weaves, and including the faster weave, having your bubbles the exact size that you want is a very good thing. And that will separate you from being very basic to making some very cool things. And you might think, oh, a third of an inch here, a quarter of an inch there, it's not going to matter much. But when they're stacked on top of each other, you're going to get waves, you're going to get pulls. It's going to be very obvious when they're comparing to each other that they're not quite right. It's an old story. How do you know that a line is straight? You compare it to something that is. Well, when you're stacking 10 layers of balloons on top of each other, it's very obvious to tell if one or more or all of them are not the same size. So we're going to work on trying to get them all the same. And in some creations, it's more important than others. I'd say for like a top hat, it's pretty noticeable. When you're making an animal, maybe not so much. Like with my giant eagle, it needs to be really close, but if a little bit's off, I don't need to pop it and restart over. So here we go with our hub and our split twist. Okay, see how they're all same size? Let's go to it. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to grab another balloon. Find a different color here. Oh, let's go for this. Go pink. There we go. And this one doesn't need to be long because it's not going to be doing much. But what it's going to do is fill in the gaps between all those balloons. So I'm going to try to get a bubble. And kind of the math is a little bit different, but pretty much the same size that you go from this part in your hub, it's going to be roughly the same distance. Now, it's not going to be exact, but the thing you want to do is when you have it go all the way around, you're going to want it so that it's evenly spaced and not one bubble this big, one bubble that big as you go around, and that will help keep it straight. So let's do that. And what I'm doing, and the reason why I did a split twist also, besides keeping the hub straight, is it gives me a quick connection point to go around and then go back. See how those are about the same size? Mm-hmm. Get that wrapped in there. And there's a couple more here. And there we go. Now, we're just going to rip off that extra pink. There we go. And you can see we have a flat weave still. Closed off. And we're going to do that one more time around, and then we're going to build up. Now you can do this one time around, 10 times around, 20 times around. For my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle costume, one of them I did, I want to say it was like 20 plus layers going around to get the thickness of the shell that I needed for the front plate. So it really doesn't matter how many layers, it's just going to keep getting bigger as long as your weave is flat. Now, what you can do if it's really big and it starts curling a little bit is you can put another balloon from one of these other connection points across, and that will give it a little stability. But for something as small as this, we're not going to need to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just speed up this portion here, and you'll see what I'm doing, but it will only take a second. Okay, so now I have the bottom of my basket, and I got a couple bubbles that just need to be evened out. But so what we're going to do now is we're going to go up. We've gone around. We don't really need this basket to be too big, but again, you can make it as big as you want, but this will work for demonstration purposes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out that green piece, and I'm going to move all the spokes upward. And thanks to the ear twist and the pinch twist, that keeps things nice and tight and going in the direction I want. Okay, see how that looks? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the exact same thing I was doing before, but I'm just going to do it going upwards. And so every bubble now going around needs to be about the same size. And again, this will be, you'll see why it matters for them to be close to the same and how obvious it is if it's not. And as the guy doing the balloon video instructions on how to do it, no pressure to make sure it doesn't look terrible. So what I'm going to do is I'll just do one layer here for you to see the process, and then I'll speed it up and I'll do a few layers and fast forward so you can see the process and what it looks like and what it looks like when it's done. Again, doing the exact same thing I did on the bottom. I'm just doing split twist all the way around, and you can see there. So, okay, let's just get a few balloons here. I guess it really doesn't matter the color. Let's take a couple of these, and a couple of these, and yeah, enjoy the show. Okay, so that is our basket. Now we can do a couple different things with it to finish it off. Either we can just cut off all these nubs and put a single balloon over, or we can do a braid. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to just make a connection point. Yeah, you know what? Let's just rip them off here. There we go. There we go. Gonna hide our ends. Let's wrap them in there nice and good. All right. Now we're gonna take a 160. Okay. So 160. Okay. So that one popped. So I just made a quick one right here. We're gonna do the exact same thing. Just put it on, wrap it in. Get rid of those broken pieces from the balloon pop. There you go. And there's your basket. Now, if you do it all the same color, it works great. Um, if you do the hubs like purple and everything else one color, they look great. There's a lot of different combinations, but this is just a simple basket weave. Now, here's the thing: if you don't want to do the bottom part, okay, and it's going to be something closed up or opened up anyways, and face down, then just start the way we did the rest of it. So what you're going to do for that is you're just going to make the frame. So let me make a quick frame here. And all this is a bunch of ear twists, pretty much all the same size. Now, when I make like any of my large costumes, when I make eagles, dragons, or whatever, I actually start usually in the middle of the creation because I want to get the dimensions where I'm going to be going up and down. So I will always make one of these in that section. And that way everything connects going up or going down. It gives me a good place to keep everything together. It also lets me have a good idea of not only where I'm coming and where I'm ending, but where the middle is. So that's how I do it. But so that it was what I would make. I would just make the pretty much the hub without the spokes. And then I would shoot up the balloons from that point to give me my spokes. See what I mean? That way you don't need to worry about that part. This is great if you're making a top hat, if you're making something that will be seen. If you're not making something that's going to be seen, and or if you just want something that's, you can wear or things like that, this works out great. Okay, well, I hope that helps explain the weave, the basket weave. If it doesn't, let me know. If it does, let me know. If you like this video, you know what to do. Subscribe, like, share, hit the notifications. Let me know what you'd like to learn, what would be beneficial for you in your journey. And right now, especially as we're just getting going, I have a list in my book here of well over 100 ideas and videos. But if you come up with an idea that you would be very interested in seeing, I can pretty much guarantee that there's a good chance that will make it up toward the top of the list. If there's a cartoon character, if there's a superhero, whatever, let me know. And or if there's a certain technique that you've seen, let's work on your list of things that will help your journey. But until then, keep on twisting. And remember, a smile is free. A thank you only takes a moment. But an encouraging word at the right moment can change a life forever. So until next time, adios.